What's up, everybody? Welcome to our live stream. Today, Yanni and me are talking all things. Yanni, can you zoom your camera out a tiny bit as well, just to match mine? We're talking muscle building again. So this is part 2 of 2. Last week we went into muscle building and we had a look at the general overview of how to build muscle, just the bigger picture, you know, reps and sets and workouts and all that. Today it's all about recovery. It's all about what you can do to maximize muscle growth during your recovery. And I also just had a recent blood test where I had my I had my whole bloods tested, but I also had my total testosterone and my free testosterone tested. I wanted to see how I'm doing, so we're going to unpack that as well. How you going, Yanni?
I'm good. Getting used to the early start on Monday morning again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's new for us.
But well, it's not really. We did it for a decade and a half, and then when we transitioned over to an online business, we had the good fortune of being able to sleep until we felt like waking up instead of getting up at sparrow fart in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know,
True. Did you
life
see
of a personal trainer?
Did you see my story on Instagram yesterday? I built a vegetable garden, a vegetable and herb garden. Yeah, you know those garden beds that have just been filled with funnel webs and all of those weeds and everything. I spent the whole day digging it all up and you know, I've got some instructions from Mum on everything that I needed to put down to prepare it.
I was just about to say, Mum would be so proud.
Yeah. I called her. She gave me the instructions for what to do. She was really happy to get into it. So anybody that's watching, I'm on a real mission at the moment Yanni and I have been on a mission for 20 years to clean up our health from where we were when we were in our 20s. And I'm working hard to reduce inflammation. And I just thought to myself, you know what, I live in a place now where I've got the space for a garden, so I'm gonna do some growing. So last week we spoke about the whole general overview of building muscle, and we said that we're going to go deeper into recovery this week, and we did say that we were going to talk about my blood test. So we may as well start with that, because I was just talking to Yanni about it before when we started the show, and Yanni was saying, oh, we should just do this on the show. So this is my, here we go. This is my blood test here. So I got it done, 11 days ago. This is just all the general blood stuff. This was my glucose. I've got a family history of diabetes. And so this is high for me. That's my fasting blood sugar.
It's interesting that it's actually gone up as well.
Yeah. They want me to go in for a HbA1c test and a more thorough glucose test. But the doctors did say, look, it's not high enough that we would be worried and need to put you on insulin or anything like that. And I don't eat refined sugar, and I work out a lot, and I have a lot of lean muscle mass. So when I said that to the doctor, they said, look, you're already doing everything that we would tell somebody that has high blood sugar to do. So, we'll just test you and we'll see how it goes. And the last time I got this test and then I made some changes, it dropped back down to 3.4. And so I'm thinking maybe I need to cut back on the fruit, because I'm eating a lot of fruit. So I might halve my fruit intake. I'm just eating a lot of fruit for fiber, because I'm not eating bread or grains at the moment.
Well, look, I on that, it's important to make I think to comment, because we do have a family history of diabetes. Our father has had diabetes pretty much his whole life. And it just goes to show that, you're not necessarily cut from a perfect slate.
Yeah.
And
you're not
the other thing is
you've still got your genetics.
Exactly. You're always working with your genetics, and that's the foundation. But it sort of goes to show that if you weren't exercising, you'd be in trouble. You'd probably be diabetic.
I'd be a diabetic.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing that I want to say is I don't want to blanket statement vilify fruit here, because fruit is totally fine in most cases. But when you've got something like that, a predisposition, then you may need to take a little look at it, and look at getting your fiber from elsewhere.
Or even just
I was showing Leticia on the weekend, that's my partner, for anyone who's wondering, girlfriend, but I was showing her my super smoothie that I have every day that I break my fast with around 10 or 11 in the morning. And I have five different types of fiber. And one of the things that I've paid attention to when I, read about nutrition and dietary guidance and watch people that I really, really value in the space, people like Dr. Lane Norton. He, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that high fiber is, or low fiber diet, I should say, is linked to all-cause mortality rates. So you want to try to increase your fiber as much as possible, and it should be, as high a quality as possible. So because the processed and refined foods that we eat, the engineered foods, mechanically engineered foods, which include all the breads that we eat nowadays, just simply don't have good quality fiber or high fiber. And that's why it's really important to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables if possible. But I put almond meal, I put psyllium husk, I put like a broken down, a minced oat meal in, and then I put a couple of different root fibers in as well. And altogether, it works out to be 5 different non-soluble fiber supplements that I'm putting into my smoothie. And it's worth considering, because one of the things that I've seen Lane talk about a lot in his vlogging is that it really does have a direct correlation to longevity and health if you increase your fiber intake, and especially if it's good quality fiber,
Yeah, he says.
Yeah, anyway,
he even says. I think he even says they're not 100% sure what it is about fiber. It's just that in every single study that has where they've measured longevity, increased fiber has been one of the things that's been consistent in the people that show them more positive results. That's what I remember from it.
Yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely.
Anyway, back to my test. This is a part of the test that I was a lot more happy with. So this is my cholesterol and triglycerides and fats. So my triglycerides, I can't highlight this for whatever reason, is extremely low, and it's got even lower. So it was 0.8 and now it's down to 0.6, and the healthy range is 0.5 to 1.7. Triglycerides are a really important thing that you want to keep low. High triglycerides that starts to cause solidifying around your cells, and you become nutrient deficient, and a lot of real problems happen if you've got high triglycerides. My total cholesterol has gone down, which I really don't care about, but the average doctor that might tell you that cholesterol is a single digit is a problem. I'm moving in the right direction, but what's really cool is my HDL has gone up from 1.5 to 1.7, and my LDL has gone down from 3.1 to 2.8. So I'm really happy about that. Those are great numbers there. And now this is my vitamin D. I got tested. I can't see what the range. Oh, here we go. Sufficient. So I'm right smack bang in the middle of the sufficient range for vitamin D, which is great because I was actually taking a vitamin D supplement through winter to keep my vitamin D levels up because I wasn't.
Sorry, go back to your vitamin D. I want to.
So it was 102,
Where's that?
and this 102, and there's the ranges. So the sufficient range is 51 to 200, and I've had pretty much.
I'm actually surprised. I mean, it is in the middle of winter. That's something that we should point out here. Very, very important one not to brush over, everybody. Vitamin D is proving to be way more important than we used to give credit to, and I would argue that you want to shoot for the upper ranges of that. I would be aiming to be more around 200 to 250. One thing that we should consider is that the recommended ranges of a blood pathology based on what you will get from the doctor are often way below what a health expert will suggest, and vitamin D is one of those that I would argue 200 is even not high enough.
Yeah. I've heard
for optimal health,
Yeah, so I'll definitely be looking to get that up as much as I can this summer when I start getting some sun exposure. So we'll see what that does.
One of the things I've found, which Leticia put me onto, Rad, is a 7,000 mml vitamin D supplement that you only can get over the counter. You have to ask for it, and sometimes they'll question you as to why you want it. But it's a 1 a week tablet. And remember, vitamin D is one of those supplements that we're not meant to take every day because it can build up toxicity in the body. And I've actually overdosed on vitamin D, and you get calcification of skin and joints and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty horrible. I got this weird sort of skin developing on the ends of my fingers that's all gone away now, but I freaked out, and it was because I was taking too much D. But the one a week
saying
one
that about you for years, mate.
They're taking too much D. That's right. Inside joke. Look, it's just easy because I take it every Monday, and you're meant to vitamin D supplementation for optimal results. You're meant to mimic sun exposure. So, what a lot of people would suggest is that you just supplement D over the you just supplement it over the weekend because that tends to be when you get sun exposure, but during winter season, you don't get enough sun exposure, and then you scale back on your D supplementation during summer when you are getting a lot of sun exposure and you are getting outdoors.
Yep. All right. So then we got my B12 and folate done, and I'm happy about this because my B12 has actually been something else that's been quite low, and my B12 has doubled. I've gone from 203 to 403 since my last test, which is really good. I've been taking a B12 supplement. And then my serum folate, that's gone up a little bit as well, which is great. And then we get down into the fun one, the testosterone. So my total testosterone is 24.4, which is on the higher end of what they call normal in Australia. In Australia, we have 8.3 to 29 for a man my age is considered normal, and I'm 24.4. I was told that my sex hormone binding globulin is a little high, which I'm not unhappy about. So it's the healthy range. The healthy range is 11 to 71, and I'm 75. And then my calculated free testosterone is in the healthy range, but it's on the lower end of it. It's 289.8, so let's call it 290, and the healthy range is 255 to 725. So I was hoping that would be higher, but I'm 46 years old, and it is what it is. And I've seen fitness professionals unpack their blood results, people that are in their late 20s and even early 30s, and they have free testosterone levels that are similar to mine. So I've got the same. I'm pretty sure I saw a video of Jeff Nippard, if anybody knows who he is, where he was unpacking his total testosterone, and it was around that. It was around the 300 mark. So I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. It's not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to look up the old. I've actually got somewhere the old recommendations from Dr. Tony Battaji saved, which would give us the dose, the pathology recommendations from Charles Poliquin.
Yeah, right.
Which is closer to what I would follow as an optimal, guys, but I can't bloody find the document. I'm just trying to search for it here on the side while you're chatting away.
Yeah, but I told everybody that I would share. I've had a lot of people ask me recently, what do I do? What do I take for testosterone, and what do I do to naturally boost testosterone? So let me go through it while Yanni's doing what he's doing there. So the first thing that I have done in order to increase my testosterone as much as I can get done is to eliminate alcohol and get a regular 8 hours sleep with a good circadian rhythm. Anybody that wants to say, what are your sources? Yanni and I have multiple sources, people that we learn from. One of them is Dr. Tony Battaji, who you can look up online. He's not only an incredible source of knowledge, but he's a friend of ours. He was actually our first mentor when we became personal trainers 20 years ago. I also follow Andrew Huberman, who's a professor of neurobiology at Stanford University, and he unpacks, what the current research is saying about health and fitness. We also, a friend of ours, Ben Pekulski, who's an ex-Mr. Olympia athlete and an incredible source of knowledge, and also Dr. Lane Norton, people like that. So we just follow people that put the information out there for us and that unpack the peer-reviewed research rather than having to read all that research ourselves. And so it's a collection of things that I've learned from all of those people as to what I'm about to share with you now. So if you're not getting good sleep, your testosterone is going to be low. It's one of the first things that's just going to cause your testosterone to crash if you're not getting a good 8 hours sleep, and not just 8 hours sleep, but also having a good circadian rhythm, which basically means that you go to sleep and rise relatively in alignment with the sun, which means it's not that you go to sleep when the sun goes down, but that when the sun goes down, you allow your body to naturally wind down to sleep. You don't use stimulant to keep you awake more than what you normally would stay awake.
Can I interject just very quickly? Because this on sleep, it's very important that people understand this. Not everyone has an equal sleep pattern. We have 3 different phases of sleep. We have REM, we have light sleep, and we have deep sleep. All the restorative factors in sleep happen during the deep sleep cycle. And usually most people go through 90-minute sleep cycles. And on a perfect scale, if you look at the data feed of a sleep analysis, they're these nice 90-minute waves where you spend roughly between 20 and 40 minutes of each of those cycles in deep sleep, and the rest is in REM and light sleep. We do our dreaming in the REM and light sleep. It's really, really important that people understand that not everyone spends a lot of time in deep sleep during those sleep cycles. I'm one person who spends very little time in deep sleep. So I need way more than 8 hours on the pillow. Because if I only lay down for 8 hours, I'm only getting about 15 to 20 minutes of deep sleep during that period of time, which is terrible. You need, on average, 2 hours of deep sleep to properly recover and restore hormone levels and things like that. So if you're a poor sleeper like me, then you need to consider that 8 hours is nowhere near enough time on the pillow. So I tend to go down at 8 o'clock and I wake up at 6 o'clock. That's 10 hours of sleep. And when I track my sleep, that's the only time I can get sufficient deep sleep to recover. So it's just something to consider. When we all say, oh, yeah, 8 hours, often that's nowhere near enough time for you. So you need the best way, if you're interested in figuring this stuff out, then you need to get yourself a sleep tracker. And there are many of them that you can use. The wearables generally do this quite well. You can get a sleep mat, they're the best, which you put underneath your sheets, and that measures the amount of movement and the body temperature and things like that, because your body temperature goes through different cycles when you're going through your sleep cycles. So you get a lot of data from that. And then you figure out, okay, well, what you build your sleep habit around your actual sleep cycles. Because I don't like just saying get 8 hours, because a lot of people still don't get enough for 8 hours. Sorry.
That's fine, but it's relevant. And something else that's relevant as well, I saw Andrew Huberman talking about this recently about sleep. It's even less like when you wake up, a big factor as to how good you'll feel in the morning is whether you woke up at the end of one of your 90-minute cycles or if you got woken up in the middle of one of your 90-minute cycles. And what they're finding is that you will feel better if you wake up after one of your 90-minute cycles, be that if it's at the 6 hour mark or the 7.5 hour mark or the 9 hour, whenever it is. But if your alarm goes off and pulls you out of deep sleep, that can cause you to feel really lethargic in that day. So it's this idea of, getting into a sleep habit where you're waking up naturally, which is what I do every day. I don't have Yanni's problem. I wake up multiple times during the night, but it's always between my sleep cycles. So as far as I can tell, I'm getting good deep sleep. And because I wake up naturally every day before my alarm goes off, usually at about 4:30, and I'm awake laying there, and then my alarm will go off at 5 and I get out of bed. So anyway, so sleep is the first thing, because if you're not getting good quality sleep, that then everything else that I'm about to say is going to be ineffective at boosting testosterone, because poor quality sleep is just going to cause it to crash. Alcohol, the main thing about alcohol, and Yanni might have something else to say about here, is that it causes your estrogen levels to rise, which causes havoc with free testosterone. So I've cut alcohol out. And I know that was a really hard thing for me to do for many, many years. A lot of I know a lot of people struggle with alcohol consumption. I won't even say with alcohol abuse, but just with alcohol consumption. I'm just at a stage of my life now where I want the absolute best that I can get for my health. And I think for me, I don't get as much out of having alcohol as I do out of being really fit and healthy. And then the next big one.
We got Josh join us on the live stream.
Oh, yeah?
Josh. Oh.
Hey, Josh, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, mate. Yeah, it's been a while. Sure has. So the next one is high intensity resistance training. Now, this one, of course, you've got to be safe with. Don't just go straight out and try and rip a 200 kilo or 440 pound deadlift off the ground if you haven't done it before. But high intensity resistance training means you are putting your muscles under serious stress during your workouts. It's not where you're doing sets of 8 reps where you're having a conversation with your buddy and laughing at the same time. It's real balls to the wall, high intensity resistance training. And so that's a different topic. Maybe we can talk about that next week if that's something that people want to know. Let us know in the comment if you want to hear us talk about what does it mean to do high intensity resistance training and how do you get there and how do you use periodization to get there. We can talk about that. So let us know in the comments if you want that. And then after that comes the supplementation and the supplements that I have. And this is like the icing on the cake. Like if you don't have the sleep, the alcohol consumption and the exercise, don't bother with this because you're just spending your money on a whole bunch of things that are like the icing on the cake.
I just missed because I was looking for this doc. I found it. If you want to have a blast from the past, you should pull this up. It's hilarious. The old Global Fitness. The referral letter is dated 2012 here, but perfect. Anyway, I missed what you said about alcohol because
I just said alcohol increases estrogen.
Well, yeah, it dumps testosterone production and drives up estrogen production, which is why people that drink excessively generally have boobs and a big gut.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So the maybe you just highlight the thing. If you want to have zero testosterone or exceptionally low testosterone,
drink lots of alcohol,
drink lots of booze, and get very little sleep. So the binge is the ideal strategy. Like big binge nights over the weekend is the ideal strategy to tank your testosterone production if that's what your goal is.
Yeah.
All
right. So here we go. I'm gonna go through the supplements that I take now, and these are. All of the supplements that I'm about to say, they come from what I've learned from watching Andrew Huberman, where he breaks down, and he always breaks down what peer-reviewed research has shown to clinically do X, Y, or Z. And then it's also, some of it comes from Ben Pakulski as well. So the first one is Fedosia agrestis, has been shown to increase free testosterone when taken. 600 milligrams a day, and you're meant to cycle that. So 8 weeks on, 2 weeks off is recommended. The next one is boron. Up to 6 milligrams a day of boron has been shown to increase free testosterone. Vitamin D itself has not been shown to increase testosterone, but low vitamin D has been shown to decrease testosterone. So I take vitamin D during winter. And then I take electrolytes, and I can't remember if I saw that electrolytes was something that helped to increase testosterone or not, but they do so many other really important functions in the body. And so I take a good magnesium and then another electrolyte supplement, because the average electrolyte supplements have way too low magnesium for what I want to be taking. I aim for like 1 to 1.5 grams of magnesium a day. The next one is Tongkat Ali. That's another herbal extract that's been shown to increase free testosterone. The next one is zinc that I take. And again, low zinc levels in the body have been shown to decrease free testosterone. The next one I take, this actually doesn't have anything to do with testosterone. I take a vitamin B12 and a folate. And Yanni, funnily enough, I've got a friend up here who's a nutritionist, not a dietitian, a nutritionist, and she swears that oral B12 can boost B12 levels, and my bloods just showed it. I doubled from taking oral B12. And I take the exact one that a guy named Dr. I think his name's Michael Attia, who's another person that I follow online. He's an MD who has a real a real passion for health and boosting health. And guess what I'm back on again now, Yanni, is the fish oil. I've been swung back around for fish oil, and I've been told again by my friend who's a nutritionist that the idea of fish oil being rancid and it not being good is true if it doesn't have vitamin E in it. If it's got vitamin E, then vitamin E, and so that's a really high strength fish oil.
That's what Ross Walker does too. He just says take both vitamin E and fish oil together.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. Yeah, the nutritionist friend that I've got up here told me that as long as the fish oil has vitamin E in it, then you're good. Anyway, and so I'm taking vitamin E. I'm taking fish oil to reduce chronic inflammation and for all of the other great functions that high fat and omega-3s and all that do.
I may have missed it. Did you mention zinc in there?
Yeah, zinc.
For testosterone boosting? Yeah, because that is a really good one.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, low zinc correlates to low free testosterone. So that's it.
I notice, like really obviously notice when I'm off zinc or on zinc, I get less erections. It's as simple as that. just
less bonus.
As blatant as you can say it. But when you're taking sufficient zinc, I wake up every morning with a TP in the bed, and it really and that's you might laugh, but that's a really, really important indicator for a healthy male that you've got a healthy system. If you're not waking up in the morning with a TP, then you need to consider your health choices, because that is you're meant to, basically. If you've recovered properly overnight, if you're healthy, if your system is healthy, if your reproductive system is healthy, your sex drive, everything, then you should be waking up with a mad heart on in the morning.
I've heard that, and my wife comments on that every day. So if we go back to my bloods, Yanni, I can't remember this, but the idea of the sex hormone binding globulin, that's what your body needs a lot of to make use of this testosterone. Is that correct? Do you remember?
Man, I wouldn't know.
I can't remember either.
I'm not an expert in this. Interestingly, in the old referral letter that I dug up from our old personal training business, it says above 90 mmLs for vitamin D is considered okay. So anything above 90, so you would be okay there.
Yeah, right.
I thought it said above 200, but I was wrong. I think we actually scaled it down after I spent so much time with Dr. Ross Walker, because he reckoned that what we were suggesting for people was a little bit too high for everybody, too hard to achieve for everybody. Not unhealthy, it was just a very high bar.
Take a supplement for it, but I had really low energy levels 6 months ago or 12 months ago. And then when I went and got my bloods tested and I showed my nutritionist friend, she said, oh man, your B12, you've got to get your B12 up. And I've also eliminated coffee as well. And I don't have the typical energy crashes in the afternoon that I used to be having. And I can really feel a difference. I feel, it's 6:54 a.m. over here and I'm really awake. You guys have been watching me for a while. I'm not kind of doing this podcast like this. Like I'm doing really well without coffee. So I'm happy that I've made that transition.
I'm quite surprised and impressed that you've done that. I've cut down to one a day. I used to have 2 in the morning, and it's made a huge difference on my quality of sleep just by cutting out 1 coffee a day. And keep in mind that I was having those 2 coffees first thing in the morning. It wasn't too late in the afternoon, but it still made a massive impact on my sleep quality, cutting out 1 coffee.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I did it. Do you know the main reason I did it? The last time I drank alcohol was when I went on my holiday 6 weeks ago or so at the start of school holidays, and when we went and stopped at Mum's and Mark's on the way through, I reckon I had 2 drinks, but this is 2 drinks for somebody that doesn't drink really much at all anymore. And so I really felt it the next morning, and I had to drive another 3 hours. So I thought, all right, I'm going to have a strong coffee. And so I woke up feeling hungover, and I was like, oh God, here we go, I've got to drive. And so I made myself a strong coffee. And then by the time the coffee kicked in, I was buzzing so much. And the whole drive, I had the opportunity, because I'm just sitting on the highway, to really check in with how I felt. And I could really feel that I was anxious. I had anxiety. And when I analyzed how I felt, from when I woke up hungover to how I was feeling now, I was like, I still feel hungover, but now I feel hungover and anxious and wired. And I was just like driving, going, oh my God, like this. And I thought, man, this isn't worth it for me anymore. And I've had Alana tell me for quite a while now, because we never used to have our morning coffee together, because I was off at the gym at 5:30 a.m. And it's only been since we sold Unity Gym 2 years ago that we spend our mornings together. That's our first time since our son was born 7.5 years ago. And so we have a morning coffee together, well, morning tea for me now. And she started saying to me, like, 10 minutes after my coffee, she'd look at me and go, oh yeah, the coffee's kicking in. Like, she could tell a change in my persona from it. And I was like, whatever. And she started to say to me, man, that coffee is causing you anxiety and you're not realizing it. And so, yeah, that's why I got rid of it. That is the reason for me, is that I was subjectively and my wife objectively noticing anxiety. And I feel a massive difference now. I really don't feel that at all. I don't feel jittery, and so yes, you're right, black tea has caffeine in it, but man, it hits you differently than coffee. It you know, I don't even really feel it. Like, I certainly don't feel any anxiety from it or anything like that, you know.
Man, the coffee is literally, that's like my last salvation. I look forward to the next day for that morning coffee. It's like, you know, I said to Leticia all the time when I'm going to bed, just as we're laying down in bed, lights are out, I go, God, I'm looking forward to my coffee in the morning, you know. And she's just like, fucking thinking about that for God's sake.
Look, Yanni, that's what I was hanging on to as well. I was like, man, I don't do anything else anymore that's fun. I go to bed at 8:30 every night. I don't play video games. I don't go and party with my friends. I don't drink. As I said, I'm not giving up coffee, but
you come onto one of these live streams and say, I've gone celibate and there's no sex left. We're not having sex anymore. I'm going to fucking come up there and slap you. Hey, anyone who's watching the stream, please do us a favor as you pass through. If you're just transient or staying for the full length, just gently caress that like button and get some likes up so that we can sort of hack the algorithm.
And if you haven't done so already, subscribe.
Let us know.
Subscribe, please.
Hit the subscribe button. Yeah. We know you love us because you keep coming back, so you may as well subscribe because it does help us. It helps us to know that we're heading in the right direction and we're giving you the right amount, the right content. You know, if our subscriber count is going up, then we know that we're doing the right thing. Also, say hello, like Josh and Simon, both absolute legends. Simon was one of our top members at Unity Gym, and it's nice.
Greatly missed, Simon. I miss our morning chats, buddy. I miss
the swimming pool sessions.
Yeah. No, I used to really enjoy catching up with you daily, Simon. So that's one of the sore points of not running the gym anymore and working up here. So we actually didn't go into recovery beyond that. So what we will do in our next episode, we will go straight into everything else about recovery that isn't just for naturally boosting your testosterone. So we'll talk about supplements that are specific to building muscle. So, you know, proteins and creatines and glutamines, things like that, branched chain amino acids, what we take, what we don't take. We'll talk about the optimal recovery between sets. We'll talk about optimal recovery between workouts and all the things that you need to know in order to make sure that the work that you're doing in the gym is going to build as much muscle as possible between your sessions. So thank you, everybody, for
just quickly. What are you using? Do you have a referral letter or a template for your blood tests? Like, what are you using to take to the doctor to say this is what I want to get?
I've got it just written down in a document for myself that in a note in my phone that I just forward through because I know what I want to test. So I just forward that. I just copy and paste that and send them an email. So I can share that if anybody wants it. So
yeah, I think we should. I think you should allow people to go if they want to get their blood test checked, and we can.
Yeah, sure. Look, well, if you're watching this and you want that, let me know, and we can send it to you. We can send the tests that you should ask for, because Yanni's right. I forget this stuff that we know about this. If you just go to a doctor and say, "Can I get my bloods tested?" you won't get testosterone tested. It looks like we've lost Yanni.
I'm still here. It's just my camera's playing around.
You won't. There's a lot of tests that they won't do. They won't do testosterone. They won't do B12. They won't do zinc. They won't do a whole bunch of things. So yeah, if you want that, let us know, and we can get it to you. And we will see you. Oh, and if you haven't done so, this is a really good video. I honestly mean this, that I'm quite proud of. Go and have a look. I'll link it in the description here. Have a look at the video that I made last week on neuroplasticity and health and fitness. Yanni and I have both been learning about neuroplasticity for well over a decade now, and we have used it to dramatically change and improve our lives. It really works. And the more that Yanni and I, the deeper we go down our rabbit hole of being fitness professionals, the more we've realized that those who want to lose fat, who want to build muscle, who want to transform their lives, if you don't work on transforming this up here, you will not get the results that you want. It just doesn't happen. So go and have a look at it. I'll put a link in the description of this video, or you can go to our channel and have a look. And that's it. Yanni's
sorry about the camera
problems. That's all right. We got through the whole podcast before it started crapping itself on you, so we're all good. All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah.